welcome everyone to a special edition of the Adam Roberts podcast, what's entitled What's Your Story? Appropriately named as we interview some of the best business owners, some of the most successful people in business, not only in Nebraska but all over the world. And basically one of the best that we could possibly find is sitting right next to to me today, Mr. Ron Romero. Very honored to have you, and it's really a pleasure.
Glad to be here.
I've known Ron many years. We've been very blessed to have a great relationship over the years, as I've been their credit card man at Schaefer's for over 10 years now. And nobody knows business better than Ron. I mean, in terms of branding, in terms of marketing, advertising, sales, you name it. And obviously, Ron and I have shared, I think, a passion for taking care of customers, taking care of customer service, and really giving them a great experience. Schaefer's has always done that for many years, and done that very, very well. And so I guess let's kind of take us right from there at the very beginning. It's now almost 80 years you guys have been in business, correct?
77.
Yeah, which is amazing. You're a third-generation business owner, if I'm correct, starting with David Schaefer, who started Schaefer's as a drugstore, right?
Yeah. My father and grandfather started it together.
Okay.
After World War II ended, it was in 1946. My father was from California, but he met my mom out there. She was going to school, and they met, got married, and they came back here, and my grandfather, said he had this opportunity to buy this little drugstore, and he said, "Why don't you come in there with him?" So they did, and that was in the like you said, 1946, and it's just kind of gone from there. In the early 50s, television was just starting to become popular, or come of age, really. Mm-hmm. And so my dad thought, well, he would try to sell a few TVs out of the back of the drugstore, a little extra. And so he did that. And that was, just a little mom and pop store. And they ran it that way till pretty much into the 60s. And then color television started coming out. And that really put a boom. And at one time, it was hard to get color TVs.
Okay, right.
Because they were selling so fast.
Sure.
So, and the color TV to have back then was RCA. RCA pioneered color television, and so he had an RCA franchise and sold RCA TVs.
Okay.
And still just kind of kept as a mom and pop. He would deliver them, and not only deliver them, but he would sell them, and the whole thing.
And that was down on 13th and F, right?
Yes, where the drugstore was.
Yeah, which is now, I think, like a youth community center, or
almost like a YMCA. Yeah, the city bought that and rehabbed it. But so I would go down and help after school, when I was in junior high, and help deliver. And then when I was in high school and had a driver's license, then I was able to take the van out and deliver the TVs myself. I'd get a buddy from school, and we'd go out after school and deliver 2 or 3 TVs.
Wow.
That type of stuff. So,
right.
So that's kind of how it all started. And then in the 70s, when I got serious about business, and I got married, and so I went in there full time, and then talked my dad into branching out into the appliances, major appliances.
Okay.
So we did that, and it just kind of grew from there.
Yeah. What did you learn, I guess, from them? Your dad and your grandfather, that you still carry forward today, or maybe that has helped you be successful from them, and what?
Well, there were several things.
Yeah.
One, good work ethic.
Yeah.
The other one would be integrity, honesty.
Right.
You don't lie to anybody, and you tell the truth. And if you don't know something, you say, "I don't know. I'll find it out."
Right.
Just don't try to make it up and walk through there. So I would say the honesty, the integrity, work ethic, taking care of the customer.
Yeah.
You know, like back in the days, I remember my dad would go out in the evenings and help people with their TV if they didn't understand something. He'd go stop by their house and adjust it, and,
Yeah.
you know, this type of stuff. So,
Wow.
you know, I remember going out with him on, you know, Christmas Eve and stuff like that. You know, somebody bought a stereo and they didn't know how to work it or something, so
Wow.
you'd go out and do that. So that, you know, it was just, you know, customer service.
Yeah, yeah, and going the extra mile to take
Yeah.
care of people. Yeah, well, that's obviously, yeah. I mean, you've probably forgotten more about TV and appliances than we know over the years.
Well,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of them.
Yeah.
Forgot a lot of them.
What you know, maybe for the business owners who are, you know, starting a business, or entrepreneurs out there that are trying to make it out there, maybe not just in retail but in business in general, what advice maybe would you have for those type of people who are, you know, start from the ground up, like kind of like you guys did?
Well, I think you want to understand your priorities.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, you know, what is important to you? You know, is it just not a job? I mean, do you want to provide a service? Do you, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And then priorities on yourself. You know, do I want to be able to come home at 5 o'clock and, you know, do things with the family, or, you know, go play golf, or, you know, whatever you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
or am I willing to give some of that time up, you know, in sake of growing the business?
Right.
And
Right.
and so it's a real fine line. And
Yeah.
and back then, there was more emphasis on, you know, working the business.
Yeah.
And you know, it took a lot of my family time
Yeah. I imagine.
away, and which I'm not proud of.
Mhm.
You know, there's little league games that I missed. There's little league games that I went to,
Sure.
but I just had to work because I didn't have anybody else at the store.
Yeah.
You know, it was just
Yeah.
me and another guy,
Yeah.
and so there was, and that was 6-7 days a week. So
Was that in the 70s then? That was
yeah,
happening mainly?
mhm,
Okay. Yeah.
mhm. Early 70s,
Okay.
and then as we were growing, we were able to hire some more people
Sure.
and
Yeah.
and do that. But you know, so I guess you just want to get you want to get your priorities not only with yourself, if you have a family, with your family, and then your priorities on, you know, what you're going to do with the business, how you're going to
Yeah.
take care of the customers.
That sounds so familiar. I remember my first 7 years in business. I didn't take a single vacation.
Yeah.
You know, and it took a lot out of me to finally just let go a little bit and let somebody else answer the phone. You know, when I was
Mhm.
gone, and yeah, so I can certainly relate. And I think there's a lot of business owners like that. Maybe who struggle with, you know, letting go, passing the torch a little bit, allowing. Which we'll get into a little bit as well. I've got some questions on that. But backing up, so as you built the business and as you grew it, well, I guess let's start with this. What's Ron Romero's superpowers? I mean, what area of business are you most proficient at, and maybe aspects of business that didn't come so natural to you that you had to learn over
Well, I guess you know what came, if you want to say came natural, was the sales aspect,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Promotions,
Mm-hmm.
advertising.
Yeah.
You know, I really used, oh, I still do, because I'm still involved with it, but enjoy the advertising aspect, the promotional. Of course, you know, it's changed so much today from back then. You know, it was, you know, all we had to do was build a newspaper ad or something like
Right.
that. But I was always involved with the promotion and the advertising. The one that I probably had to learn was some systems, whether it be you know, just financial systems, you know, just, you know, how to to put all that together and
Yeah.
hire the right people. Don't try to do it all yourself,
Right.
but put the whole thing together.
Yeah, yeah. And I think most people in this town know you as a master of advertising. I mean, they see your face, they've seen you on TV year after year after year. What makes a good advertiser, or what's the key to good, effective advertising for a business owner?
Well, I think you need to be able to come across. You need to come across with a sincere message, an urgent, a message that will stand out amongst the other advertisers. One of the things that I did early on was I did my own TV commercials. And I didn't necessarily do them just because I wanted to see myself on TV.
Right.
But it was that when that commercial came on and you saw me, you knew it was Schaefer's.
Right.
And if you saw the local talent, back then, like say on Channel 10, they had 2 or 3 spokespeople that would be talking about, several different companies. You
Yeah.
might see them talking about, back then it was Miller and Payne, and the next time they're talking about butternut coffee, or that type of thing. And so I thought, there's really nothing that sets us apart to really make us sincere.
Yeah.
So that's really why I got involved with it. And I mean, I did that at an early age. I mean, I was doing that when I was in my early 20s.
Wow. Yeah.
I'd been working in radio for a while, and so, I enjoyed that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, I'm just going to do the TV commercials.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, one thing that I've noticed, at least, is innovation. Schaefer's is always innovating, and you're always looking for bigger and better ways to serve your customer.
Right.
And that's what makes Schaefer's very unique, in my opinion.
Well, and I'll tell you, I've been blessed because I've got my son and daughter are involved with the business, and we share a lot of the same, all the same values, and know what it takes. Like in the advertising, my son says, we got to stand out from all the other, and the same thing goes today. I mean, not only just for TV, but if you're internet or whatever type of advertising that you're doing, you've got to stand out amongst all the others.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so backing up to sort of you consolidated, closed the 13th and F location, moved everything to 48th and R. Talk about that, and I guess the influx of appliances. What a step that was for your business. I mean, that was and moving away. And at that point, you closed down the drugstore portion.
Well,
right.
Not really. We kind of ran that for a while with the soda fountain and all that stuff, because that was the family and my mom and dad, grandfather and stuff. They liked that soda fountain and all that kind of stuff. So we just kind of grew from there. We just took over different. The building had multiple tenants in it.
Yeah.
And so eventually my dad bought the building and we started taking over these little pods.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's when we got into the appliance business.
Okay.
So that was about 73 or so.
Okay.
And so we got into the appliance business, and back then we were just known for television.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal to try to brand into the appliance business.
Right.
And there was a lot of competition in the appliance business.
I imagine.
And so we grew that,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a slow growth. We evolved in that, and we got to a point where now the appliances are much more of our market share that we do is more in appliances than it is in
Is
television.
it really? Wow, interesting. That's very interesting. And I think going back to what makes a business successful, I think everyone knows that Schaefer's has great people. I mean, every time I've been in there, to get an appliance myself, I get taken care of, and you have a great team. You really do. And so, for business owners out there, maybe who are new or trying to grow their business and go to that next level, how do you find a good team? How do you hire good people? What do you look for?
Well, you've always got to be looking.
Yeah.
And trying to recognize the potential
Mm-hmm.
in people, whether it's, if you see somebody in church, or you see somebody in a restaurant that's giving you good service, you always have to keep your eyes open,
Yeah.
to try to get some talent. And also within the industry,
Sure.
So we've been very fortunate. We have good people, we have good managers. We don't have a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
And so especially in our sales and service areas, we have people that have been with us a long time.
Yeah, which is unique.
Yeah.
I think that's
With the pandemic, it's becoming more of a challenge finding people.
Yeah.
Finding people that, number one, that want to work, and people that, if they do work, they're going to do a good job and
Right.
going to share the same values that you want.
right, the integrity and the things that you mentioned. Yeah. We've been blessed and honored to serve you now for over 10 years at First American.
Yeah.
It truly has been an honor, and I'm trying to think back. That's a lot of caramels too, I think, over the years. For those of you who may not know, we give our family's world famous homemade caramels to our customers every year.
So we look forward to that.
Yeah, it's a big deal in our house come December. What advice can you give to those who want to work with you? I mean, I've gotten a pretty good idea over the years, having served you, what type of people you like to work with. Speak to that a little bit.
Well, I think we work with all different types. I work
Yeah.
with a lot of vendors.
Yeah, sure.
And I say me, I mean our team does. We work with manufacturer reps and vendors and advertising reps. All different
Yeah.
types of business to business. And so there again, we look to do business with people that are fair
Right.
and have a good product. And there's people that, we choose not to do business with,
Sure.
to buy from, to represent, because we're just not comfortable with the product or,
Sure.
or that type of thing. So, you can't be all things to all people.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's being good at what you do. As you were building Schaefer's over the years, and going through, growth and obviously the growth we now see today, did you have any low points, any challenging times where, man, I don't know if we're going to make it through this, or challenges you had to battle, and tell us about those?
Well, yeah, every I think person that's starting a business from trying to build it
Right.
has those moments or those awakenings where you
Sure.
say, well, what am I doing here? I'm working 7 days a week and 10 hours, 12 hours a day. What am I doing? I could be working for, the newspaper. I could be working
Yeah.
for the school district. I could be doing this. I could be doing that, and
Sure.
just have a regular 8 to 5 job, which a lot of people do, and
Yeah.
have a lot of time on their hands to do other things.
Sure.
And sure, I thought about that several times. What am I doing with this
Yeah.
thing? And then not to mention the risk that you take, the
Yeah.
financial risk
Right.
that you take. You need to make sure that you've got people coming in and buying things, and that you're making a profit, and because you've got a lot of balance to feed. You've got people on your payroll that if
depend on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stress that comes with that.
Yeah.
I didn't lose this hair, easy.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I think that's maybe where I lost most of my hair too. That being a business owner, there's pros and cons to that.
Yeah.
But for the entrepreneurs out there that are trying to make it, trying to get there, trying to get through those tough times, especially as we went through COVID 2 years ago, which was unprecedented. I mean, nobody's been through anything like that, I don't think. Hopefully we won't again. What helped Schaefer's get through some of that, and obviously there was a big influx of online business that happened during that period.
Well, what helped us get through that was our people.
Okay.
Our people from the top down stepped up and took it serious, and whatever they had to do, they did. We shut down for, I think it was 2 weeks, but we still had people that came in and worked the phones and did, they were there. But we had product. We made sure that we were doing what we could to get inventory, because people were staying home. They were buying new TVs. They were remodeling their kitchens. They were cooking more, so they wanted a better range or microwave or refrigerator. There was a lot of that business done during that time, and the availability of product was tough, because the factories were shut down, or stuff was imported. Parts were tied up and all that stuff. And I mean, we're still seeing some ramifications of that. But we just had we had to buy smart. We had to make sure that we had inventory, and immediately we committed,
Yeah. Well, and COVID, I think, changed business for a lot of different industries. Maybe for, and who knows how long, but it could be an extended period of time that's the case. Has it changed in the retail world, has it changed for Schaefer's, and how so in terms of that marketplace?
Well, it showed us that we could be a little more efficient.
Yeah.
And get more done in less time. We cut back hours, and we still have cut back. We used to be open every night, and we're not. And because we need to, during the COVID period, like I said, our people were working hard.
Yeah.
And so to have them working extra hours and stuff, that we needed to do some cutbacks.
Yeah.
So we did that. We did holidays. We used to be open most major holidays, like we would be open New Year's Day, and we'd be open Memorial Day and Labor Day. And, we said, let's just tell our folks that that's good family time, and let them have that off. So, we did that, and we haven't gone back yet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, we might down the line. I don't know.
Right.
We're trying not to.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Your story is interesting, and I want to dive back into that a little bit, because you mentioned, the days when you were behind the counter, you're the guy answering the phone, or, it was just you and a couple other people. And now we look at the Schaefer's today, you've got a great team, a pretty extensive workforce. how does a business owner who's maybe stuck in that, that sole proprietorship, or stuck in that, sole member LLC, and they're trying to scale, they're trying to open it up so they can have more time with their family. What helped you make that leap? How did you scale and were able
Well,
to go to the next level?
I was able to find good people.
Yeah.
And people that shared the same values, and that were willing to come in and help. I was fortunate to find people in all departments.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, I don't. There's a lot of departments that I really don't get involved with, because I know what's going on there, but
Right.
I got people in there that's what their job is, and so we were able to find people that could run our office, run our computers, run our warehouse, deliveries, service, sales, and it's hard. I've got friends in this business, and I've helped a lot of them that have been trying to build their business up, and things to do, and
Right.
and so I've been able to do that and consult with them.
Yeah, and that's and kind of going back to how do you spot those people? How do you spot the ones that are going to help take you to the next level? Maybe that's one of your superpowers too.
Well, you've got to be able to, I call it superpower,
Yeah.
but you just need to be able to read people,
Yeah.
and give them a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think that's key as well especially in the credit card world, as we in First American. There's so much fraud out there these days, and we're running into it more and more, that, having good people on your team is so key, it's so important. And in a business like the payment systems business. But, other businesses may be different, and I know you're not just a Schaefer's guy. I know you've been successful in several other areas of business as well. I consider you a consummate businessman. Obviously from your radio station, you do some real estate. What other business areas do you like, and what I guess tell us about your experience there a little bit.
Well, I helped build a radio station here, and I just sold it a couple years ago, the ticket.
Yeah.
A sports station. And there again, I was blessed that I got some good people involved there that knew the business, but it really needed a working owner,
Mm-hmm.
that had that passion,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't give it that much time because of the other stuff, and I recognized that. And I came across a person that shared that passion, and they've taken over the station and doing a very, very good job with it.
Yeah.
And I've been involved with some real estate, and still continue to look at that, and multifamily or commercial properties and stuff like that. It's kind of intriguing. I guess I always liked to play Monopoly when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, real estate's great. I love it. In fact, I don't know any other business where you can make money 4 different ways at the same time. I mean, how incredible is that? From the appreciation, the tax benefits, the equity to build, rents that you collect, basically paying for the property. And we got to talk more about that, because that's fascinating stuff to me as well. It's been quite a ride, and you are the type of business owner that I think a lot of people look up to in this town, And I know I certainly have over the years.
I used to tell people that the best thing I ever did for my business was to get out of town. And by that, I mean I got out and got involved in the industry. I got involved with buying groups. I got involved with performance groups, with different people in different parts of the country, and go in there and see what they do. You know,
Right.
I've watched a lot of people, and I've gone out and consulted with a lot of people in different markets, big, small, you know, mom and pops to, you know, multi-chain.
Yeah, absolutely. And so those relationships that you've built have helped take you to another level as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that to me, relationships are so key, and that's been a big part of I think some of our success, and certainly your successes too. You know, as people come walk in the door, I think they know, you know, Shavers is here to stay. A, B, you're going to get a good experience and get taken care of. But C, they're going to be there for you when you need them down the road. You know, and that's something I think we've tried to instill as well. It's just, you know, it's not just a one-off sale. You know, I don't think a business can survive that way, really, in the long run. But it has to be a long-term relationship. What are some of the ways that you guys have been able to be so successful at that in terms of the developing of a long-term relationship with your customer?
Well, the relationship with the customer has been always important, you know, and you know, unfortunately, I don't know every one of our customers.
Yeah.
You know, but I do instill upon our team members to, you know, put themselves in customer shoes and what they want, what they need, listen to them. If they've got issues, take care of them. You know, and just empower them to, you know, take care of them.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you've certainly done that over the years, which is very inspiring. Well, thank you, Ron, for coming out. I know you probably got another appointment you got to run to, but wanted to thank everyone for listening to us and watching this very special edition with Ron Romero, a staple here in Lincoln, Nebraska, in terms of business, and certainly someone we all look up to. Thanks again for coming out.
You bet. Enjoy it. Thanks.
Great.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, I'm going to shut all of this down.
So did you buy this building?
With my uncle, I did. Yeah, then I sold my half of it back to him after a few years because it just made sense. And I'm gonna stop this one. Figure it out. Yeah, but you know, again, it's real estate.
Thanks again for joining us on the Adam Roberts Podcast, What's Your Story? And don't forget to click and subscribe. Ring that bell down below so you get notified right away of every single podcast and all the content right away. Can't wait to see you next time. So excited you could join us, and we'll see you on the next podcast.